outside, but it definitely affects me. Did you take anything?
I stayed over here. Yeah, like this day. It really doesn't. Yeah.
Justin? Hi, how are you? Good, how are you?
I'm not doing that.
Good.
They wouldn't call
You
people.
need another one.
Yeah. Green Bay against Kansas City.
Thank
You're welcome.
And I watched them on color television. I wish I would because their definition is terrible.
Whether he likes it or not.
Other than now. Color is what it is now. You look at your TV, you just come back.
My group is
But I'm still on Stafford.
Oh, she, okay. Do we have another?
Everybody else signed in?
Everybody's got a chair?
Is everybody, oh, no, we got somebody else.
You got more?
You got more coming.
Thank you.
Justin wasn't expecting this one.
Like 3 or 5 people show up. I like the t-shirt. I like that.
I assume you have season tickets.
Just try to get them from him.
No, I quit paying when it went over $50. I watched it on TV next day.
What is under $50 on that Colts game? You got it under 50.
I tell you, I remember getting into a Chiefs game for $50 and that was including parking.
I remember
They weren't doing as well as they're
it was Marty all the time. I used to go a lot.
That was when the Broncos were always winning.
I don't think
6:28, Wednesday the 13th, Fairmont HOA.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Two sets here with tickets. One has 7, the other one has 4.
Wow.
Then my brothers
Do they share with you?
I can go to a game anytime I want.
For a property.
No, that's my son, you better not charge.
Yeah.
I cut my little will.
I could do that, you didn't get nothing anyway.
And I have 2 brothers. This is one guy, I have 15 brothers.
Wow. Yeah.
Are you Shayla?
Shayla?
Shayla, I'm Joe.
You're Joe?
I am.
Oh. So did you see this? I asked to be put on the agenda, but they didn't put me on the agenda.
And that's if you're counting on it.
And then they just passed this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
So,
I think you said what I thought you said. Say it
yes.
again.
So I asked to be put on the agenda, but they didn't put me on the agenda. And then they just passed this out.
Oh, what's your name?
Shayla.
I was assuming there's like a comment section we can all talk. Is that what you said?
It's after the voting. It's after the voting. And
Maybe you could say
then
something before we start.
I would hope so. I would hope so. Because they're not taking any other individuals wanting to run.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my questions too. How do we run?
I figured we'd just write in somebody else, and
Maybe
but I, you know,
if you want to run, I would say you want to.
You're running.
I'm not going to run. I thought about running, but
You're
I'm sorry. What?
Are you?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't
So,
know.
so your wife didn't?
no.
Okay. Then I'll
We've got too much going on with my health stuff right
I think
now.
you need something else in the bowl.
I agree, especially after you hear what I've got to say.
Okay. You said her name was Shauna?
Shala,
Okay.
S-H-A-R.
Whatever.
No, go right ahead. Move right over there.
I thought there was a couple more neighbors coming, but you never know.
During the last 3 years. I have brothers, I have the last
Couple of shares in case somebody else comes in.
Sorry, my voice is so, I have a house in Texas. You know, half of it's on fire right now, so my lungs are just horrible. It's so bad down there.
I just want to let everybody know there is a ladies' room and a men's room out that door and along this wall. Thank you.
call the meeting to order at 6:34. I'm going to make a motion to read and approve the 2022 annual meeting minutes. Last year, the minutes were called to order 7:04. The previous meeting, annual minutes were approved. Then we had the president's report, and we talked about the achievements that we had made the previous year. The financials were gone over. And then the budget, we talked about the budget, and it didn't change from the previous year. And then we had our annual election. There was a reading of the nominees, opened up the floor. And then there was a rental agreement change to the covenant that we voted on, and it was approved. And then the vote, along with that vote, the board members were voted on. Then the floor was opened up to the residents to speak. There was a couple of people had concerns with the common areas on Mains Gate, around the pool. Then the announcement of the board was made, and the meeting was adjourned.
So I didn't get a copy of that, any of that material.
Oh, I just asked you if you wanted.
Oh, I thought you said it was the agenda. I apologize, that's my fault.
I'm sorry, I'm out. Okay.
Motion to approve the board minutes from 2023's annual meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, 2024 report from the HOA. We had another great year within the HOA. We accomplished several items we planned out from the previous year of 2022. We're trying to deal with the rising costs of vendors and making sure that we're making good financial decisions for vendors and the costs that come with inflation. This year, we will be voting on this meeting to approve our new contract for 3 years for the landscaping for the HOA. This year is the second year our pool was converted to salt water. We had great success with very little problems. Still seeing the lowered maintenance costs versus the previous years being salt, not salt, but chlorine based. We added rubber mulch to the playground to bring that up to code standards for fall requirements. We also replanted the entrance on boxwood with new plants and re-landscaping. We plan this year, if it's physically possible, to re-landscape the entrance on the main street. We also last year had to remove a section of pool decking that was shifting and raising. It could potentially cause a trip hazard, so we had that cut out and repoured. We had another good spring dumpster day. The fall dumpster day, we only filled about half the dumpster, so we made the decision that this coming year we're just going to do the spring dumpster day and instead of the fall dumpster day because of the added cost and not filling it. Tonight we'll also vote on the continuation to use the same landscape company for 3 years or use another company. We also decided that we will not continue to have the entrances plowed due to the rising cost for plowing. We had a couple people last year They volunteered their time to clean the bathrooms and make sure the trash was all cleaned up out of the trash cans and put the dumpster to the curb. This year, we're looking good financially. We're also looking for ways to become leaner with the rising costs.
Treasurer's report.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, treasurer's report, last year we had $73,847.96 in expenses. We collected $82,920.43 in income. Right now we have an outstanding balance of $1,079.57. We carried over for this year $7,992.96, and we have in our reserve $45,772.87. And most of our expenses go for water for the pool. It goes for our landscaping expenses. Switching over to AT&T, we were able to lower the cost of that. We also, so more of our costs is for the building, which we use for everybody to communicate and to pay their dues and everything on that one. So that's where most of the money has gone to. And then our insurance. So we didn't really have that much in full repairs compared to what we have in other years on that one. And in the budgets for, starting up this year, we've spent $707,283.24, and we've collected $22,662.95. So we haven't. This is not the time of year that we spend the amount of money. It's more of the spring and summertime for all those lawn maintenance. Any questions about the budget?
Hi, my name is Shala Perez. I moved here in July, attended one meeting. I did ask to be put on the agenda for this meeting and was refused. I have served on February 15th the legal counsel of this association, as well as the council and you board members yourselves, a demand for inspections of books and records related to the activities and expenditures of this HOA. Although that is in Kansas statute, that was ignored. I have not been provided access to any receipts or records.
You have not received any notification.
I have a copy of that notification if you would like a copy now.
We never got an email.
It was sent to your council. I do have receipts for that. It was sent to the Fairmont HOA email address.
You sent it to Fairmont. You didn't send it to the right email, so we didn't get it.
You're saying that Mr. Kramer, your attorney, did not get that?
We're saying you sent it to the wrong email address.
You
You didn't address it to us.
Okay, so did you receive it or not receive it?
No, we did not
Okay.
receive it.
If I send that to your council, you've been duly served. Just so you know that.
Well,
Okay, well, then I'll have to file a complaint against his board. That's not how that works.
yes, it is. how that works.
But anyways, I find the, resistance to cooperation for giving information to members of the community very, very, what's the word I want to use? Uncooperative, and also in violation of the Bill of Rights that we are afforded as members of a community, of an HOA community. There is no reason that this board should deliberately know about the existence of that, as well as having texted Mr. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Thielen? Mr. Thielen, I did send you personally a request for such records, as well as record that as I do every meeting and every phone call conversation. So I do have an acknowledgement from you that you were aware that I was requesting all of the records, and you yourself gave me the name of the attorney to contact, which I did. Again, I would reiterate that it's not your position to refuse somebody to be put on the agenda for the HOA, or to refuse any member of this community the right to inspect the records or receipts of the community. And as you know, I would like to receive a copy of this information that's being provided that I have not been provided today. As a matter of fact, there are investigators currently investigating several aspects of this association and its expenditures.
Ms. Perez, I want to.
I'm sorry, you cannot interrupt me. I'm allowed to speak. This is my opportunity to speak.
Okay,
It's
but
been on the agenda.
we haven't reached that portion in the agenda yet. You were put on it, not by name, but we are giving all the residents an opportunity to speak.
Okay, you asked me if I had a question about the budget, and I'm getting there.
Okay?
My question is, okay, well, this is not a timed exercise, but if you would like to, that's fine. So I just want to make the community aware, as somebody who's taught criminal law for 17 years, I've been a former police officer for the majority of my life, which was rather short so far. But I have turned the information that I was able to obtain and observe and record over to the Wichita Police Department, the Kansas Gaming and Racing Commission, and the IRS as well. So that was referred for tax evasion in addition to that, which I believe you understand because I have seen some alterations to that budget at this point. But I just wanted to make the members aware of that since I've been disowned from Facebook, as have other community members without actually having any due process. And I can see that you guys are very resistant to that. But I believe it's the right of the members of this association to know that you are currently under investigation by multiple agencies. And I will be following up with an additional request to inspect records. So I will get this information and it will find out where the expenditures have
I'm not
gone.
withholding it from you, you just gotta give it written.
Okay, if we want to play games about it, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, so we've gone through the treasurer's report. The next item on the agenda is the election of the upcoming years.
So we need to go through
Uh,
the approved financial statements.
That, so I make a motion to approve the financial statements.
We need to go through.
Do you want to go through?
Yep.
Okay,
And you want to read through these?
this right here.
And so do we want to go who we went to, or do we want to go through?
Beginning balance, end balance,
Okay,
not clear where the money went to for bills.
okay, so, second ending date, 11/30/2023, we have a beginning balance of $49,739.24. We have $2,470.51 that cleared deposits. We had $6,321.31 that cleared withdrawals. The withdrawals went to our, for electricity, to Honeyman Pool and Spa, to Elite Landscaping, Waste Connections, Building for software fees, City of Wichita for water, Alert 360 for our video system at the pool, AT&T for the internet at the pool, Building, and then the ending balance was $48,888.44. We go to December, we had deposits of $6,581.76. We had expenses of $3,747.33, ending balance of $48,722.87. Expenses went to landscape, for last lawn mowing and cleanup, for building, for software, Evergy for electricity, City of Wichita for water bill, Alert 360 for the pool gate and camera, the City of Wichita for water bill, AT&T for the internet at the pool, Elite Landscapes for winter fertilization, bill pay for enterprise. Okay. For the ending date of 1/31/2024, we had $48,722.87. We had $14,164.11. Most of that was deposited for the first quarter dues. We have expenses of $1,058.33. That left us an ending balance of $61,828.65. Expenses went to building them for software fee. Then we had to pay our lawyer for some information. Then we had Alert 360 for gate and camera at the pool, AT&T for internet at the pool, Evergy for electricity, in the city of Wichita for water. And so now we have the balance, like I said, of $61,828.65. We have a motion to approve the budget and the bank reconciliations.
I'll motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All right, so now we're at the elections, so we have to read the nominations, nominees by the nominating committee. So per our covenants, we have to have a nominating committee, which consists of the board president and 2 members of the association. Is there anybody here that would like to be part of the nominating committee this evening? No?
Can you describe what the nominating committee
What do
role
you
is?
do?
The nominating committee is those who motion with the board, the president of the board, for those who want to be on the board. Yes? Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to be on the nominating committee tonight? Tony? Okay. So Tony and Bonnie, you guys will be the nominating committee tonight. So
What do we have to do?
well, I'll explain it as I've kind of learned this process through the Robert's rules. So the nominating committee is myself and you guys, or anybody who wants to be on the board. There's 7 spots on the board to be open every year. There's the 5 of us who want to continue to serve on the board, and anybody else who wants to can have a vote for that. So I nominate myself to run as board member. Diane?
And I was going to continue to serve on it, but I have since changed my mind. Would like to continue to serve on the board.
I'd like to nominate myself too. John?
I'd like to nominate myself, Brian.
I'll nominate myself, Steve.
Is there anybody else here in this room that would like to nominate themselves to be on the board?
I'll nominate myself.
Okay. So Shala Perez. So everybody has been given a form to fill out for a board member. Every home is allowed 2 votes per home. So the house gets 2 votes per person. If you want to serve on the board, you can write your name in on this and put your 2 votes towards it.
So we just marked 2 people is what you're saying?
Just put that
Yeah,
to-
so like each person, like so Diane wasn't sure if she wanted to serve, so there's a blank spot there. You can write Diane Greenleaf Kistner in there.
Do you want, I'm sorry, did you say you wanted to serve? Oh, okay, I couldn't hear what you were saying.
No, I decided.
Yeah,
So put your name in
I
there.
object.
So put your name on that line, is what you're saying. Sorry, I just want to
Yes,
make
that's
sure I'm
fine.
doing it correctly.
Yep. So everybody's afforded that right to be able to put 2 votes and whoever you'd like to vote for.
It's 2 votes per person or 2
Per
houses?
household. Per household.
Per house,
So if there's 6 people running, you get 2 votes for each individual. Does that make sense?
I'm not following.
It's easier to just say 2
70
votes
people
per
on the
household.
You get 2 votes
14
among
times.
the.
For each
Each
person.
Okay.
You get to vote for 7 people.
So if you live in a house by yourself, you get 2 votes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's,
If you got 16 people in the house, you get 2 votes.
yeah.
If you've got 1 person in the house, you get 2 votes.
Do we collect these?
Yeah,
Okay, is everybody ready?
so you'll give them to John.
I thought we give, do we give them to us?
So, yeah, if you want to collect them, then John gets them.
Oh, we'll record it?
He records them.
Oh, okay. And then we count them.
John will count them.
Okay.
They got some here. They took your job away.
I know.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry, I had a question.
Yes.
According to the agenda, it says that nominees will have an opportunity to speak before the voting takes place.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've already collected ballots, but I would like to speak.
I can put them right back out here. Not a problem.
At least that's the way I understood it.
Yeah, anybody, if you want to speak about why anybody should vote for you, then they're more than welcome to.
Appreciate that. Hi, my name is Shaula Perez. I've lived in Wichita most of my
I
life.
wrote her name in there.
Sorry.
Or you can write her. It's either Diane or Shala. There you go. Or you can do both, too. Oh, that's what I said. Oh, yeah, Diane, or you could do both. No? Yes? Sorry. I don't know. Sounds good.
Okay, sorry about that. So my name is Shaula Perez, and I moved here in July, so I'm not very familiar, unfortunately, with the HOA, and I feel like I was hoping somebody who had been here a little bit longer would have some more interest besides the current board that we have. The real reason I'm running is because I attended one board of directors meeting, and in that meeting, unfortunately, there were a lot of things that I disagreed with that were happening as far as how residents of the community were being treated. I felt like there were inspections taking place on people's homes that were in violation of our rights that were afforded by statute in Kansas that would give you warning if somebody's going to come on your property. There were decisions being made by one individual on the board, and the other individuals were not party to those. They were just left up to the one individual just to decide for everybody. And I felt that was unfair. There was a disparate treatment among people who got what when talking to my neighbors. Some people were approved for things, some people weren't. Some people were penalized for things and some people weren't. After speaking with my neighbors, I found out that Mr. Excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, Thielen. Mr. Thielen was very rude and abusive to individuals, and I experienced that behavior myself. A very uncooperative behavior in general from the board, which I disagreed with. The board is a reflection of the community, and I believe that some of their punitive actions towards members were unnecessary. And part of what we're supposed to do is help each other in a neighborhood to make sure that the quality of our neighborhood is something that everybody's able to enjoy. I heard from one individual that his son was restricted from the pool without due process because he didn't move his dirt pile fast enough. And the reason he explained to me that that happened was because he had some difficulties with medical issues in his household. There's a million stories that I've had after speaking with my neighbors that are very similar. In fact, my neighbor and I were both thrown off the Facebook page without due process, which may sound like a little thing, but when you want to communicate with your neighbors and one individual who will not identify themselves decides that they're going to reprimand people and do whatever they want and become a neighborhood dictator, that's why I have a problem, and that's why I'm running today, to make sure that all of our rights in this neighborhood are respected and that people aren't overreaching and doing things that are in conflict with the law. We have members of the board who have not paid their dues in at least 1 year. they've taken it upon themselves in violation of our covenants not to pay their HOA dues, which means none of them probably should be voting, let alone making decisions or serving. Additionally, Mr. Thielen has paid himself a sum of money that's also in conflict with the covenants to be our HOA president or manager. So in my opinion, that creates a situation where you could have embezzlement, or it could be classified as embezzlement. Additionally, in my first meeting, I sat there and listened to him talk with the other board members who agreed with him that they shouldn't issue themselves W-2s or 1099s because they didn't think the IRS would come after them for their employment pay. That's okay. That's your opinion. But I had immediately called counsel for the neighborhood because, as you know, that's tax evasion. I didn't feel that that was appropriate to be openly discussing. So these are matters which are under investigation at this point in time. I have requested that, I'm sorry, can I finish?
No, can you just say why you're running?
These are all the reasons that I'm
You're
running.
because
Yes, I believe that these
of your
individuals
acquisitions?
should step down, that they have overstepped their reach, and that they, having caused this neighborhood a criminal investigation by at least 3 agencies, have really no right to continue to believe that they should serve for a second or third term, some of them. Also, looking at the way they've managed things, their record keeping, their bookkeeping, the way that they've held elections, the way that they've done proxy ballots, which is not correct. I mean, none of this is happening the way it should be happening, or being, run the way it should be run. And that's unfortunate to everybody in this neighborhood. So if I'm elected, I will look into all of that. I will try to make sure we get reimbursed to our HOA fund. Anybody struggling to mow their lawn and things like that, I believe there are other remedies for that before we just traipse into people's houses or yards without their knowledge, and so on and so forth. But you get the idea of why I'm running. It's not something that I do, because I want to overstep anybody else that would like to run, but I feel like these people should not continue to run the HOA for our neighborhood. Excuse me, because I have a slight cough going on and my voice is going out, but I do appreciate your time and possibly your vote. Thank you very much.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Tony Madrigal, and I've been happy with the board. They've given me good services. They've called me when necessary, but let me give you a little background. I was a member of an HOA for 20 years. I was president for 3 years. I was on the board for 9 years. And I appreciate what the board has done, the way they keep it up. The properties that I have have gone up in value because these folks have done their job. Okay, I've been very happy. In fact, as Mr. Thielen, I didn't get someone with him along. He sent me an email and notified me, and I didn't get on it right away. He went over there and mowed those lawns. Okay, that's what he did for me. And the communication has always been good. Now, I've been in business before. I've dealt and insured HOAs. And when the purpose of an HOA is to help, okay? That's what you're trying to do, to get people to serve. Now, I welcome you to serve. I appreciate that. That is not an easy job. You have a lot of responsibilities. The rest of us, we have to say thank you for serving on board number 1. If something, you don't agree with something that's in the bylaws, I think we should sit down, discuss it, and see what remedy there is. That's what I did when I was president. That's what I did when I was on the board. And we had a total of 69 members, 69 homes that we dealt with. We never had any problems because we came to the board. The individual would go to the board and meet with 3 members of the board, discuss, and get some answers.
I appreciate that, and I believe that's how that happened. Unfortunately, when I called Mr. Thielen, he gave me the number of the attorney.
Let me
He wouldn't
finish.
talk to me.
Can I finish?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and these, I compliment you folks for serving. And there is no perfect board, there is, bylaws are not perfect, because we went through the same thing with bylaws. Because we had a situation where there was another HOA on the other side, and we happened to have a common area by which we took our cars. That got to be a problem. So we wanted to make a change, the other homeowner association would not agree. 10 years later, there's an agreement. So again, the best way to do it is, you know, I don't like negative. I just, you know, if you would sit down, if I have a problem, I'll call Justin, and if I need to be with the board because he is not giving me my answers or helping. But again, there is no perfect bylaws. There are not, because there are always legal things that came up, but we always worked them out. We never had, you start getting into legal problems, first thing you know, you have a lawsuit going on. In fact, I don't think in an HOA you can sue yourself. Because you're part of it, yeah, you cannot sue yourself.
No, you can't.
Well, you can, well, okay. That's, you know, that's an opinion from one attorney. My attorney, when we had that issue come up, said you cannot sue yourself. No different than if a family member where you live cannot sue you if they get injured on their property, or a family member. Okay, now again, you can talk to attorney A, attorney B, they all have. You know what? You know who wins? The attorneys. Everyone else loses. That's why compromise, talk about it, pointing fingers, you don't get anywhere. Sit down and talk about it. If you have an issue or another member, go to the board, get with 3 members, because you gotta have at least 3. That we have. You know, don't go after an individual. That's not fair. It's not fair. Just isn't. So, in saying that, I hope that things can be worked out. When we start bringing the legal people into this, it's not fun. Have you ever been sued?
I sue people, I don't get
Okay, you've
sued.
never been sued. Okay,
Yeah.
being on that side of the coin, it's not fun. I was in business.
I agree.
I got sued several times.
But again, I did try to talk with him and he would not talk with me. He gave me the number for the attorney to talk to, which I agree with you is not the way to go. And that is why I'm running.
I hope, as the membership sitting here, that we can find some way to have a compromise and talk about it. Maybe we need a couple other people to sit down with the board, maybe 3 or 4 of you. Just sit down, let's talk. Okay? Let's have some peace. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that has anything to say?
I do.
guess at this point.
It's real simple.
Okay.
On the west pond, is that a catch and release pond?
Yes, it is open to any resident of the HOA to fish on that pond as long as it's not on the property of the adjacent lot. So there's an L shape back there that anybody can fish on.
Okay. But is it catch and release?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll just clear the air on all this because us as a board have nothing to hide whatsoever. There is a Facebook page most of you guys are aware of. That Facebook page was created by a person who no longer lives in the neighborhood. They have the full control access of that. The board does not run it, we're only on there as moderators. We have no control over what physically happens on it, who gets deleted, who gets added, what comments get deleted, all that type of stuff. So now we're deleting the Facebook page so it's gone and there is no more Facebook page. There has to be a way for all homeowners to be able to communicate with each other. So under the privacy laws of Kansas, we have to follow rules of that, and we can't just give out names and phone numbers of every single homeowner. We can give the names and address of every single homeowner, which has been provided to Ms. Perez. Even if those people don't want to have their information shared, they have the right to write us in writing to tell us, I don't want any of my information shared. And we have to oblige by your request. So
You okay?
that kind of takes care of the Facebook thing. I know some of the stuff that's happened on it. I don't know everything. I just know that we can all remedy lots of stuff in here together by simply just meeting like this and talking about anything. We don't need to be combative. We don't need to be threatening legal action, all those types of things, because I just don't think it's fair, and I don't think the board thinks it's fair. You guys can speak however you guys want to speak about it. But there's 215 homes in this neighborhood. And anything that anybody does that results in a lawsuit or anything like that can have repercussions to 215 homes, because that cost to fight stuff like that is a cost incurred to our reserves or our D&O insurance. And D&O insurance will raise if you end up having to use it, which I know Tony can tell us about that. But I don't think anybody in the neighborhood wants our HOA dues to go up. And everybody has a right to speak about that. We did advise and we have sought counsel for everything that's going on, as Ms. Perez has brought up. We are incurring costs currently for that, for legal counsel. That will get into reserves that we have put aside to operate our HOA. We've also been advised, the board had no knowledge that there is these rules called CIC rules that Ms. Shalla brought up to our attorney that are governing body by the state legislation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that I believe got enacted in 2013. Is that correct?
I'd have to check the date.
But there are these rules that us as a board, after seeking counsel, were advised that these things trump all bylaws. So,
And I have one other question on this one, is that we as a board have been running it for the last year and a half. All those other years, we had HOA management, and we got bad advice, actually, is what you can say, because at that time, we were giving people $100 off their dues, and HOA management never said you can't do that. And so, because we were being ran by HOA management, we assumed that they would let us know if that would or wouldn't, fly. And so, we were given bad advice. Now we have legal advice, and we're moving forward with all this.
yeah. So what we were advised is just being honest. And you guys okay with sharing this stuff? Okay. So, yes, Ms. Perez is correct. After finding out rules with the CIC, there is rules, it's called self-dealing laws. And under poor advice from HOA management and their in-house attorney, I don't know who that is, we had them draw up a document that was advised us that we could waive our dues to a certain amount. We, I believe, changed it. I know Dustin attended most of those board meetings when Dan was on the board, and we changed the rule to you had to attend 3/4 of the meetings to have your dues waived. This is a complete volunteer base. Yes, it was probably not advisable from previous council to waive dues. So we've been advised under council going forward, which we've all paid our dues now at the beginning of January, and we're paying our dues. So nobody is getting any waived dues anymore.
And we will not be volunteering on some different projects like painting the men's bathroom, painting the pool house, planting the bushes, taking out the mulch, and putting the rubber stuff in there. From now on, it will be
all cost incurred.
It will be cost incurred.
So, and then to bring up the other thing. So, yes. So, we have a tax company that does our books. And since we're considered a nonprofit, we have two vendors that we use. We use Elite Landscaping and a pool guy that's just self-contract. We hire him every year to do our pool. As far as I know, we have never W-2'd or 1099 any individual. We've never been advised that we have to. So now
neither did the HOA management, did they?
I don't know if they did or not. That was all before I served on the board. But going forward now, Ms. Perez, we will make sure that we are 1099ing or W-2ing any contractor that is required to be done. So we're not hiding, we have nothing to hide. We want to make sure that we're protecting 215 homes in here and each homeowner to the due cost of what everybody pays, that we're doing things right. Have we made mistakes? We probably have and haven't followed certain rules that we didn't know that we had to follow. We are going forward now, making sure we are following these rules.
And then another thing, we did not know that giving everybody a number to do a drawing for gift cards was illegal gambling.
Yeah, we were advised that as long as people weren't buying into it. So
We're talking $50 twice a year.
Yeah, we're trying to go.
It was
We are trying.
and now we're being told we're now being investigated by the gambling.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
And your salary that you're paying yourself?
So that's the other thing I want to bring up. So these 4 individuals here next to me decided that they wanted to pay me $250 a month to help manage the HOA. We also had been advised that that was okay, and by all means, I'm trying to be all with clarity, and all of us are. If you read in our bylaws, there is a section in here, and this is what we went off of. There's a section of Article VI about officers, and then there is an article.
Should have highlighted it.
I'm sorry. So there's Article VI, which is Director's Powers and Duties, and it does state here that if you have a director or operator, they cannot be compensated, but under officers, it says section 10 under compensation. The compensation, if any, of all officers, employees, and or contractors of this association shall be fixed by the board. Nothing herein shall preclude the board from employing a director as an employee of the association. I was never hired. They drew up a contract that stated they would pay me to help with running the board. So back under CIC rules, that's considered self-dealing, okay? We have no idea that this is wrong, okay? So we have been advised, pay your dues, and Justin, stop paying Justin, and Justin paid the money back, okay? So I want to be clarity to all of you all that we are starting to pay dues, and I will be writing a check for $3,000 back to the HOA to reimburse to our funds. Does everybody understand that and understand that we have goofed up a little bit here, but we did not know that we were not following? We thought the bylaws were the rules we had to follow, but we didn't know that there was state legislation stuff passed that supersedes.
And covenants.
And
covenants.
So we had no idea, Ms. Perez, none whatsoever. And that's where we're at now. We want to make this right for every single homeowner in here. We're on a volunteer basis. We are doing everything in best will. You brought up also that people have been denied, what is it, not access to the pool and stuff like that. Joe, can I use, okay. So Joe had his restricted access to the pool, okay? I know Joe and I spoke about this. He had dirt delivered because he had foundation issues and his driveway was sinking, and he put in a bunch of dirt and stuff like that. Can I be completely open? Are you okay with that? Okay. So
I guess I don't know what you're gonna say. I'll reserve the right to.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to air anybody's dirty laundry or anything like that. I'm not trying to not being dirty, but I know that Joe had got a new job, and he lost that job shortly after he got it. and he did have health issues. The board does, per the covenants and restrictions and the bylaws, we have the authority to be able to fine people. We have to give them written notice, and they have to have a corrective action filed within 15 days to let us know what their plan is. And if the board says, okay, we're going to give you 30 or 60 days, whatever, to get that cleaned up or whatever, we do that. I wish that another homeowner that could be here isn't here tonight, because we had another homeowner, well, let's stick with Joe right now. So, given Joe's health issues and losing his job, we decided it would be best not to put financial constraint on him. So we said, okay, we're going to take your pool access away until you're able to get that rectified. So when you get fines levied against you, you can either pay them, or, and then if you're also in arrear of dues or fines, you can lose access to the pool. That is a tool that we have to be able to say, if you're not paying your dues or you're incurring fines and you're not willfully cleaning your property and making an outward appearance nice, then those are tools that we have to be able to enforce that. We never want to send people to collections or anything like that. We try, with all due respect, to meet everybody's needs and what they want. I do know there's very few people that have ever had a DRC form denied. Most of the ones that have been denied have been for like plastic sheds and things like that. And we don't allow plastic sheds. In fact, even in our covenants, there is no rules of sheds. There's several people in the neighborhood that have sheds that have probably had them approved with prior boards and stuff like that. We do approve sheds now, as long as they're of a wood structure and painted to match the house. There's people that have put decks on their home. If it's pre-existing to your home, I know Ms. Perez, we brought that up to you because you wanted to paint your home. You also wanted to fix your deck. Your deck is considered pre-existing, so if you're making any structural changes to it to improve it, that really wouldn't need a DRC form because it's already pre-existing. Same with fences. If you already have a fence, Tony knows this because he's got wrought iron fences and he has wood fences, and he's removed the wood fence and he's gone in with metal fences because they last longer. Per the covenants, you're allowed to have a wrought iron fence or a good neighbor style fence. So as long as you fill that out and send it to us, we've approved everybody. I know, I'm going to blank your name.
Emily.
Emily sent one to us last week, and in fact, she emailed us and asked if she could call us. She called and said, hey, how do I go about doing this? I said, go on to Buildium, print off the DRC form, fill it out. She has a paver patio that's already pre-existing. She wants to put it back in concrete. Well, go for it. Here's your form. We don't want to hold anybody up from making any improvements to their house because, one, it improves the value of your home and improves the value of the community.
We also made some changes
Yeah.
on the shingles or the.
Yeah, we had a neighbor that put a black roof on their home, and in the bylaws it says you have to have a weathered wood. That is the only option. This is way before me. This person asked to have a black roof. The HOA said no. They appealed it. The HOA said no. They went ahead and put a black roof on their house. That was when I joined the board because I didn't think that was correct. I think if somebody wanted to put a black roof on their house, let's change the covenant to make it where people can choose what type of roof they have as long as it's cohesive to the neighborhood. So now if people want to put in...
We had some bring the colors on there so that they could show what it looked like.
I have a quick question. Did you say that Joe had a fine that he couldn't pay? Was that
No,
what?
we decided we would not fine him.
Oh, okay. So what was the reason to take the pool away from him?
Because the dirt, he didn't move the dirt, and we didn't want to put a financial constraint on him.
Okay.
Instead of fining,
Okay, I kind of. I would say if anybody needs help doing something, I think there's people in the neighborhood that can help you. Maybe if you reach out.
And that's building.
I don't know you, Joe, but
Yeah.
Yeah, Buildium is where you can connect with it.
where? What is it?
Buildium, where you pay.
It's where you pay your bills.
Oh.
There's areas in there, if you go into it and actually look at the Buildium, there's areas in there where you can leave messages for people. Just like leave instant messenger or anything like that. You can leave messages.
You can create a forum in there between your neighbors.
Yeah.
Miss Perez.
That was some of the concern about randomly taking people off Facebook with no knowledge or acknowledgement, no idea who's doing it. But to go back to kind of consolidate what we're talking about here in the interest of time and being respectful of people's time, my issue is, and I do appreciate this discussion, it's the discussion I wanted and unfortunately never got. And I agree with you. This is how it should be done. But this is not how I was treated when I approached these individuals with this. And I do have, I'm sorry. No, I do not. And I have every phone call recorded. So I have proof of how I was treated. I am smart enough to know that. But excuse me, can I finish my point? My point was that there is in several documents, the CCRs, the bylaws, and the Homeowners Association Bill of Rights. And I apologize, I just didn't call that by the correct name. But in those three documents, there are procedures spelled out when you are sanctioning an individual in an HOA. You don't just get to create how you think it should go or arbitrarily decide who gets what and divvy things up and who gets punished and who doesn't, who gets inspected and who doesn't. People have rights, and they have the right to appeal if you guys make a decision that they don't like. And I'm hearing from my neighbors that people are not being given any procedures whatsoever to follow, and they're not being given those rights to appeal those decisions, and that those decisions are not made public. A lot of what you do is not being made public or available to homeowners, and those are the issues that I was trying to reach out to you about, but unfortunately told, go talk to the lawyer, and was refused to even speak with you.
You were told to talk to a lawyer.
You weren't on that phone call, so you don't know what I was told.
When you came to us and said there's lawsuits involved, and you're going to sue us.
I never spoke with you.
You're going after us.
You have no knowledge of what happened.
Yes, I have.
I have not spoke with you, and you were not a party to any of those calls whatsoever. I have those calls recorded. They were between me and Justin. You were not on those calls. You do not know.
You made a point that
what you've heard is from him.
Were involved. Once you stated that, then you had to go through the lawyers.
No, he directed me to talk to the lawyer. He refused to talk with me.
So I'm just going to say, when you had police come out and put a sign on our truck to tow it, why didn't they go through the proper procedure? Because they didn't even put the right address on that.
That's a different issue. The reason I got kicked off of Facebook is because somebody put on Facebook that a vehicle had been hit because it was parked out on the street, and the person just put on there, please be careful if you're parking on the street. There was a vehicle hit outside of my house. And I had brought up at the only meeting that I went to that there is a white truck parked on a bend, and it does create a hazard because I had been hit twice, which was the reason I went. I didn't get hit twice. I was almost hit twice because people come into the lane for oncoming traffic as they're going around the bend in order to get around the truck. So I went to the meeting to bring this up and say, hey, there's this truck that's parked there. It hasn't moved, and this is creating kind of an issue for people who have to go around this bend. It's pretty risky. I felt I was doing, what I should do as somebody who worked as a police officer. To me, this was something that was something dangerous that could cause a problem in the future.
Yeah,
so when the individual posted this, random comment on the Facebook page, I put on there, I just asked, is this the white truck on the corner?
You said, I'm waiting for the white truck. I'm known as the box going to be hit. That truck has been parked there, the same spot for 15 years.
Right. So I didn't know that it was her vehicle until the meeting. And then she got quite snippy that she's parked it there for 15 years and she can park it there if she wants. And that was the end of it. And I had just made this comment on there, but they decided they didn't like the comment. And you know, to hell with free speech. So they just took me off the Facebook account. And nobody would own up to taking me off the Facebook account. I had no, you know, due process for getting back on or getting put off. That's what caused this controversy. I called him and said, hey, somebody contact me, whoever it was that took me off the Facebook page. And I'm not the only one that this happened to. So to me, the Facebook page is important for reasons that we just discussed. When neighbors need help, when I have somebody soliciting, you know, there's a reason people have a Facebook page among neighbors. And just because you don't like something that somebody put on there, as long as it's not distasteful or rude, I don't believe that they should have the authority to just start kicking people off and silencing people. That's contrary to what an HOA is there for. The HOA is there for people to meet and confer and voice concerns and opinions. And that's what Facebook there is in
Honestly?
part for.
Well, and I have a Facebook account as well. If there's somebody that was rude to me,
I was not rude.
But I actually
There was
thought that
nothing-
statement was really quite
There was
rude.
nothing rude about that statement.
I actually thought it was quite rude, and I was actually shocked by it. And I thought, wow, that's not a really very nice neighbor.
Well, I mean, I would have to disagree with you. I don't think mentioning
I'm
that
sure you
vehicle,
disagree with it 'cause
asking
you
if that's
put it
that
in there.
vehicle, I don't believe that was rude. But again, that's why in a society you have a procedure where you get to say your side of things and not one person just in the middle of the night decides you can no longer participate anymore. If it's a function of the HOA, you cannot arbitrarily be removed if you're paying your
It's
dues.
not.
It actually is
You have
because
two other ways to get a hold of people
you
besides that
actually,
Facebook page.
but that doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
It doesn't actually, because you actually, in your meeting, invited people to join the Facebook page, and it's documented in your own notes. It's documented that that's our new neighborhood Facebook page. So I know what loophole you're trying to get through, but the point is, it was a neighborhood Facebook page, and all the neighborhood should be allowed to be on that, unless they're removed and they are provided due process, like anybody would be provided due process.
Well,
But-
as stated before, the Facebook page is now going away because of this, so it's going to be a moot point now. So
Okay.
let's move on to something else. More productive.
Another subject that you brought up was the inspections. Nobody goes on your property or anybody's
Not
property to do
once.
inspections. Nobody gets out of their vehicle when they're doing inspections, so they stay on the road. So there is no due notice that has to be given.
This is just what I've heard. This is what I've heard from my neighbors.
I can tell you in the past, when HOA management was doing inspections, there was a lady that was getting out of her vehicle to take better pictures or something. But since we have gotten rid of HOA management, none of that has happened, and that's been 3 years ago
Okay.
that we got rid of them.
I was told it was a woman, so that does sound
Yes.
consistent, but that's just the information that I got, so.
Right.
But we don't.
Okay.
These two individuals do our inspections. Sometimes John even helps out with we all try to help out with doing whatever we can.
We're only looking for what can be seen from the street.
Because we don't have the right to go on your property and look at anything else. So,
And the whole idea of inspections is to keep the neighborhood looking nice, keep everybody's homes values up. And then if we see something, we write it down. We send it to the board members, and everybody goes, is this something that's violated, or is something that's not a violation? If we think it's a violation, we send out a notice. Hey, this is what we're noticing. Can you correct that? If we don't hear from them, then that's when fines start up. We have done away with people's fines when they come up to us and say, hey, okay, we want to correct this, what can we do from here on? instead of paying us fine money, take that money and take care of what the problem was. The fines are just a way to get people's attention, and we're not trying to punish people.
But
We're just
some
trying to get
people
their-
were fined and some
yes,
were
some
not.
people were. Repeat
So-
offenders get fined.
Yeah.
Some people get fined, it all depends on an individual basis.
What their circumstances.
You
But
can't-
it
you
should,
can't- you
it
can't do
should depend on the same thing for everybody.
Yeah.
That's the
They
thing.
go by the same, they get the same notifications.
Well, I appreciate everyone's patience. I know this was an agenda item, so we're supposed to be in the middle of voting, and I think we've gotten sidetracked, but
You want us to?
So I just want to know if anybody wants to change anything that they have here.
Yes, no?
So we get a vote from everyone. Okay?
Okay. So John will take the time to tally that up.
You know, this is not my way to do it.
You need a calculator.
Probably will.
It's on your phone, man.
We'll go ahead and skip forward a little bit when John does that, and we'll try to, so we'll open the floor now to residents to speak. Is there anybody who would like to speak tonight or has any questions, comments, concerns, anything that we can try to help with?
I had a quick question. Well, as you know, I love the swimming pool. So I just wondered, there was talk last year about getting it fixed. I think because the water, you were saying that the water is coming down and messing up the bottom, at the bottom of the swimming pool.
Been replaced, I think, 3 times.
So like, it's really, there's no,
So what's underneath a line, so that's not a typical like liner, it's an actual professional pool liner. And I know Diane's told me that it costs like somewhere upwards of $30,000 to put that liner in.
so we'll just live with it.
Underneath a pool liner is called flamiculite, and it's like so there's foam, and then there's about 1 inch to 2 inches of flamiculite underneath there. It's like a spreadable material. And what's happened in the past is when you have a regular, 6 mil liner in there, if water gets behind it, it floats the liner and it creates air bubbles, and that folliculite can stir up and it creates little divots in there.
It's better than it was.
Is it?
Yeah, the pool,
The pool wasn't supposed to be there.
correct.
There wasn't supposed to be a pool in the neighborhood. And when the first people that were in there, then they went around and they got the majority to vote for it. And so Richie gave them that spot. And there's a runoff, and that's what's happened to it. So it really wasn't supposed to have it. We weren't supposed to have a pool here.
Well, I'm glad you do. And I looked for that, looking for a home,
That's why we
so.
moved to the neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a very good speaker, I don't speak eloquently or anything.
That's
I understood everything you said.
So far, I'm probably one of the oldest homeowners in the neighborhood. I think. When did you move?
No fighting, ladies.
Oh, you mean as long as I've lived here?
Yeah.
I'm talking
I'm not talking about age. I think they lived there,
2003, we were the first
Yeah.
people to buy a property.
I'm 2005. And I'm very happy to be in the neighborhood. I did not vote for the pool. I hate the expenses we've had to pay for the pool. I would rather that have been spent on something else, but I'm a part of the neighborhood.
I agreed, I didn't want the pool,
When
my
I bought
husband
the
did.
house, when I bought the house, there was no mention of a pool, the HOA dues were totally, and then all of a sudden we get a pool and the dues go up, but anyway, I'm very happy to live in the neighborhood. I'm glad I live in the cul-de-sac I do, so I don't have some of the other problems. I'm very happy with Justin, I've called him many times, he has called me about, that lady that put the pool in the enclave. Remember that? Screwed up my backyard. Not just mine, but other people's. Anyway.
They're the ones that we're accessing off of.
So that lady came to us and said, hey, can we use this access point? And we're like, that's not, it's an easement, but it's not, every home backs up to that, that's their property.
And
Yes,
we
it's
are
a
responsible
utility
for
easement for the utility company to access if they ever need be. And I said, we told them, if you're gonna do that, you need to give each homeowner, make sure they're okay with that. And I think she did come to you.
She did, and I
So,
okayed it,
and she-
not having any idea what was gonna happen.
But we did,
And it totally destroyed that area.
I think it's better.
It's a little bit better, mostly because of weeds, I think.
Well, and there was a lot of water that would stand in that area too.
Well, it's standing there now because the pool people screwed up the sidewalk and didn't build the sidewalk
Well,
back
that's what I
with
meant,
that
right,
dip
that's
in
what I'm
there.
talking about.
And now that dip's not there, the water's
But
backing up.
I know the pool is important to a lot of people.
Oh, I know.
But what I'm saying is, I think they remedied the problems that the pool has.
No, I'm not talking about our pool.
She's talking about the individual.
The
Private.
individual
Yeah,
pool in
I know
our
you were
club.
talking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys didn't want the pool.
No,
to
no,
begin with.
no. Oh, yeah,
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
they made it a lot better
Right.
over time.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I just, that was not, when I moved in, there was no pool, there was no idea of a pool.
And that's why I moved it.
Yeah.
I had a, sorry.
I think it's a draw.
I have a question real quick while we're waiting.
Was she done talking first?
Oh.
Were you done?
I'm done.
On the fences, on the diagram, it's been a little hard for the guys to follow. But they were wondering about rough cedar, trying to match that fence. Is some things aren't made in the same size in rough cedar. Is there a possibility of doing treated lumber? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Treated? Is that acceptable?
I know you're gonna do it correctly, and you're gonna try to do the best materials that match. We all know that nominal sizes change over the years. Whatever you, I can't speak fully on behalf of the whole board. It's all of our decision. I have no problem with whatever you have to do to make it try to match.
Okay.
Or do you
So
guys-
if they vary from cedar to treated, it's okay?
Yes.
Because I have
Yes.
two
I
fences and they're both constructed differently. So,
We've talked previously about amending that style of fence because
Please
one,
do.
it is so expensive.
and it's ugly when it gets
So
old.
like they make a fence that's like that. It's a good neighbor that faces towards your neighbor, but in the inside it has like three. Two by the-
Yeah,
and then it
that's
has
what
metal-
one half has.
And then they use metal poles and stuff like that. Mr. President, I don't want to go off of. You've scared the.
Your covenants give you full power to amend that without changing the covenants, just so you know.
It does. It does, but it doesn't. Because so when we did the rental agreement, it was a flippin' hoopla to make sure that we follow, the attorney to follow everything. Now, in the DRC, it does say that DRC from time to time has the right to amend and change those things based upon that. But because that fence amendment was added afterwards, now it's like it's legal. And I could be completely off base of saying it's illegal, but it's a lot harder to change things that have already been done than it is to enact new things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I believe you're still good though, because
Okay.
it gives you the power
I don't
to
know,
do that.
I want to make sure that from going forward, we're doing everything correctly. You've scared.
I didn't mean to. That was not my
You've
intent.
really scared us. You've scared. And we want to work with you on this. We're not trying to be a head. We're not trying to withhold anything. There is certain procedures that things have to be done in. I'm not an attorney by any means. None of us are anywhere close to that. You probably have a leg up on us on knowing some criminal procedures better than us. We're here to work with you. We want to live in a community where we all get along.
I appreciate that. I've been waiting for this call, but I haven't received the call.
That does go both ways.
That goes both ways.
Absolutely, exactly.
So we all can live in harmony. Everybody's different, and I'm not going to get on that tangent, but everybody has the right to have their own opinion, right? Because it is but there is consequences of actions in life.
Right.
Everybody has that.
Well, I
So-
appreciate you talking, because before I just called this number and it was the attorney and you refused to discuss any of this. So this is what I had hoped would happen, that we could discuss that.
We're here together. Now, everything that we do, we all have input on, because it's not me that makes the decisions. It's not me that says no or yes or anything like that. It is 5 of us. It takes a quorum of 3 of us to be able to say yay.
And their spouses.
So we are trying. We don't want
I appreciate
we
that.
don't want to end up in litigation. We don't want to be under investigation. We made mistakes. We're going forward. We're going to fix them. Let's continue on the path that we're going on.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry if I've made you upset. I'm not trying to make you upset. We have to live in this neighborhood together and cohesively, okay? Even if we pass each other's paths, the gas station, the hospital, if you're dying and need help, regardless of our difference. Veteran, I'm sure there's other veterans in here. Now, John's a veteran, I'm a veteran. I don't care anything about anybody, but let's make sure that we're trying to help one another. If you're dying or whatever, I would help that, okay? Regardless of our differences. Because I'm a human, and humans have to have compassion,
I appreciate that.
okay? So hopefully we can agree to disagree on certain things, which is fine, but we all as a board want to cohesively try to work with you on whatever we can to fix.
Can I say something? Please. You're in trouble now. No, I moved in 08, 09, and I've seen nothing but, since I've been there, it's always gone forward, and it's gotten better every time, every year.
Honestly, when the HOA was, they drove me crazy.
The HOA was costing
They were
us,
annoying.
I think, something like almost $20,000 a year to have their services.
And they literally, you
And they
couldn't
did
get a
nothing.
hold of those people.
They went
'Cause
around
they-
on Monday.
They what?
They would go around or Fridays, before the weekend. So you would always get some sort of notice for mowing or weed eating or whatever, because they went before people.
Or your trash cans.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like,
trash can, they were big on trash cans. Leaving
It was
trash
annoying.
They were.
Would you like me to resubmit my fence for
No,
prime wood?
we know that we've already approved it.
I just want to make
You're
sure
fine.
it felt,
If you have to find different nominal size wood or different style, I know, does it say rough cut? Or
rough cut cedar.
Yeah,
if
something
it's-
like that. If it's fine finished, like plain finished, that's fine. I'm not sure where your contractor's sourcing wood from. Me personally, I found the best wood barn in town to be Menards, and I know John doesn't want to hear that. But they have probably the best wood in town. So if you tell your
Maybe save big
contractor,
money.
yeah.
It's called Hertz? What's it called?
Menards.
Oh, Menards. Yeah, that's where I've been. They don't have certain rough cut sizes, pickets,
Believe it or
and
not, like the boards on your side of your garage, mine were starting to rot. I couldn't find rough cut anywhere until Steve said, "Hey, you need to go to Menards. They got all the rough cut cedar. Go up there and walk up. You have to go to the back.
You have to go in the back barn.
and you have to walk up the stairs.
yeah,
to
that's
where
who built my quote out.
So that's where I.
Yeah.
That's how we help each other, letting everybody know what.
So
What
you know,
you're good at.
and I don't know what else to say. I do know that we have one more issue at hand that I did see that did not get put on the agenda here. So that is our landscape contract. We had 2 bids for, we had an outside company, Pure Point Landscape, give us a bid for landscaping. And we had Elite, who is our current contractor, give us a new bid for the next 3 years. Pure Point's only for a year-to-year contract. Since we switched from SLM, Dustin, I know you can probably, because you can contribute maybe your sense about this, because
I hated them.
you remember from Dan serving on the board and how much problems we had with SLM maintaining our common grounds. we switched to Elite Landscape, and we've had great success with them. They know our property. We have very little complaints from homeowners. We get some because they don't bag and they blow some of their mulch in people's yards. So we've asked them to please go the opposite direction in mowing, just discharge out to the street instead of towards people's yards. So I believe, so the price for Pierpoint Landscape is $18,300, and I believe the price for Elite Landscaping came up to $21,000 a year. There's pros and cons with going with new companies. One, are they going to do it to the satisfaction that you like? Also, the manpower, and I'm going to say this manpower that Steve and I put in to make sure that they are actually putting fertilizer down and not just charging us for it. They're mowing the areas correctly. They're fixing any sprinklers they're damaging. Those type of things that are incurred costs should be on the property mowing company, not on the HOA. Every spring we've had Elite Landscaping, we paid them I think it's like $450 for the year. We have them every spring, start up our sprinklers, do the backflow checks, and then they walk the zones to make sure every head's working and they replace heads that need to be fixed. We've always had them go ahead and do that. It's kind of a thing that's optional, but we do it because we've had areas where sprinkler heads aren't working. The rotors got jammed with rocks and etc. And we've had areas burn up. So I am in favor personally. It's up to the 4 of us or the 5 of us if we want to go with a new company or keep it a little bit higher cost, but know that the services we're getting and the relationship we've built with that contract. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand that or have questions?
Have you asked if they would match the other person's quote?
I have. I
It
have.
usually doesn't go very well.
We did
Speaking
get a
from a
$40
contractor
price drop
standpoint.
per mow to be more close to the cost of, so he went from, I think it was like $400 or something like that per mow. He went down to $380. The mowing from Pierpoint is $330 a mow, and that's 32 mows, which equals $10,560 for Pierpoint versus Elite is $12,160.
So he dropped it a little bit.
He did drop it a little bit, so this is his revised one.
That's good.
This is a 3-year contract, not a
But it's a 3-year contract versus a
Yeah.
1 year where it can go up and up. We did.
Can we terminate without penalty?
Oh, we're not in a contract with Elite right now. We're not.
I know, but once you go.
But once you sign that,
No. We're with them for 3 years.
so if you don't like them after something changes, and
We've been with them for 3 years, and
yeah, but
I mean, you guys drive.
if something were, I mean, obviously,
So he
Can't
has a
predict the
clause in
future.
here that we have, it's a resolution clause that we have to give them notice with things, and many times I've found things that, not a lot, but found some things that need to be fixed, and they're out there fixing them. So, in fact, when AT&T, was that last year, came through our neighborhood and put fiber in, they busted a whole bunch of our sprinklers, and
They also didn't do a very good job of putting the ground back.
I spent, I don't know how many hours hounding AT&T to be reimbursed for the cost that we had to incur to have our landscape company fix it, because there was breaks that it was just dumping water. That's expensive. I mean, our most expensive cost in our HOA to date is our water. Last year was almost $19,154.
I called AT&T 5 times before I
So-
was satisfied.
We did get reimbursed. They did reimburse you for that. I think it was like $600 in repair. So we did have another expense. How many of you guys live on the pond? I know Shala does. Do you guys know about the beaver that was back there?
Oh, we have another beaver.
Are you?
Yeah, I think it's
He's gotten another tree on the north end, he got a tree on the south end. My trees have beaver teeth marks, chunks down there.
Gosh.
He's in front of here.
Four on the
I got a video of him.
Okay, so we already had, is this recently you've seen it?
Yeah, I took a little video of him a
So
couple days back.
We caught, okay, a couple days ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So we caught, in,
Since that guy, yeah.
yeah, okay, so we did pay Dan the Trapper, whatever.
Trapper Dan.
Trapper Dan.
Yeah.
Is that you that contacted me? Okay, so we had to pay $676, I think, to have a beaver trapped.
Wow.
It was, he had to make several trips. It was,
Yeah, we can't just do it ourselves, they have to be registered.
They have to be licensed.
Licensed
Well, it has
and all
to be
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And what?
You gotta do it.
So there's another
we,
one.
we try to do
Yeah.
so much stuff by ourselves to cut cost, and that's part of the reason why we waived our dues, is because like the entrance of Boxthorn, for 5 years the lights never worked. Until one day I went down there and was like, oh, there's lights here? So I went to the hardware store and bought everything to fix it, and I spent the time and rewired it, and now we have lights. They still need to be fixed since we've remodeled, because they're, sure you guys have noticed, they're very bright when you leave.
Yeah.
They need to be moved over and centered to that. That is something that I personally would like to be fixed. We'll all have to agree on the expenditure of that to be done. You know.
I can send you the beaver video where he's at.
Okay.
Because I think I found his little home.
Okay.
And he's out in broad
Can you-
daylight too. He's
Going
pretty.
forward, Ms. Perez, can you, we want to make sure that from going forward that we document, that everything's documented. It protects you as well as you know, and it protects us. Everything needs to go to Fairmont HOA email address. I see it, these two see it, okay? They just have access to it. We made sure it worked and everything else. A lot of you guys in here have dealt with me exclusively. It's not because it's just me you're dealing with. I call these guys and tell them, hey, what's going on. They know. They get forwarded emails so they can see it. There's a Google Voice number. I know, Shala, you've called it. It rings to my phone. It used to be that I had abundance of time throughout the day to be able to answer phone calls and help residents with anything. So it's been always me that's been, I guess, the voice, if you guys will, for the HOA. But it's not me who solely makes any decisions. It has to be all of us, because that's not in accordance with the rules.
So the Fairmont, Wichita, or whatever that I've received stuff on, you guys don't use that?
The Fairmont.
Fairmont.
Not Mount.
Not Mount.
Oh, I apologize. Fairmont, Wichita, HOA.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That is our email.
That's where
address.
I've sent stuff. That's the one I have.
So,
So.
I'm not going to lie to you. The attorney did call us and tell us, hey, did you get this? And we said no. We did not receive it. And it was so that the day before you'd sent on the 14th the DRC form for your fence, the next day you sent that email, but it went to the wrong
That was
email.
the second request that I had made, though. Made the first request to you guys, which was ignored. Then I followed up with that request.
It wasn't ignored,
as
it
well.
was sent to the wrong end.
No, there was one prior that was ignored, and then the second one I did make after. Yeah,
So,
I did try. Trust me, I did try.
But you didn't write out what you wanted.
Can we?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, so,
Justin, I have a follow-up question about the water, or not the water, about the lawn.
okay.
I just had a follow-up question about the mowing.
Yes.
So when we moved in 2019, I know Joe and I both are against the easement. I don't know if anybody else is. They used to mow
yeah.
there. Is that just, I know we've talked about it before.
So, back when HOA management managed the HOA and SLM did the mowing, they once a month or every 2 weeks would mow that whole pipeline. We found out through going to the county GIS website, which is an interactive map that shows you your property lines and the easement setbacks and everything. That property along the pipeline is private property. It is owned. Each homeowner butts up right to the
that
center.
makes sense.
So we made a decision I don't even know how long ago, it's trespassing. It really is trespassing because that's your property. And I don't think that's fair that we trespass and we don't have your permission.
That makes sense. Okay.
And so we stopped mowing it. And it was a very expensive fee to mow that
Oh, I
easement.
believe it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
I live next to the I live next to the pipeline too,
so
that's-
what kind of, because we do have, is very, very vague in the lawn maintenance and stuff like that, is very vague of what you're required to have. It just says green fescue, 80% green fescue, etc., and that's it. We've got very lax in a way to, we don't expect everybody to mow it like every single week. Keep it manageable, I guess is the best way to put it. Where we know that it's not nice green fescue, it's kind of
Prairie grass.
Prairie grass, brome, whatever you want to call it.
Bermuda.
To make sure that you're keeping it manageable where it's not getting out of hand and you can easily mow it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
We don't expect you to mow it every time you mow your yard. I wouldn't say, I'm not gonna say how many inches, but where it's manageable.
Yep.
I think, do you guys think that's fair to say, keep it manageable, don't let it get out of hand? That's a big amount of area to mow for some people. I know Joe, you guys have a good section to mow.
Joe's lucky he's got a rider.
That's-
Got the push.
That's why I bought a riding mower.
Yeah. Some people
It took me 3.5 hours to do it when I first moved in.
I know, you
I
have
said
to be
no.
weird because how far inside the fence is.
Yeah.
I need to
Didn't you
get
guys get a riding mower from?
It's a whole story. It was
Okay, so
get a sense for
Steve,
turn home.
wanna,
Might be.
You wanna vote on both of them, or just?
yeah, I motion for a vote on the contract for landscaping. Do you guys want to approve the,
Okay, I make a motion, we, go with Elite.
okay?
That's my motion.
And I third that to keep Elite Landscaping.
I'll go for Elite, it's, I like what they've done.
Okay,
They know the property.
so we'll note that the motion for Elite Landscaping continue their contractor. Okay.
John, do you have any totals over there?
I do. All the previous members of the boards were reelected. There was 36 votes for all of us, and Ms. Perez.
Read them off.
Hmm?
Read each one of them off.
I got 36, Brian got 36, Justin got 36, Steve got 36, Diane got 36, and Ms. Perez got 10.
Okay. All right. So, all right, well, I motion to adopt the board members that have been voted in.
Second.
Okay,
There we go.
that's 6 board members.
Yep.
All right, cool, Ms. Perez, you're now an active board member on the board. Okay, does anybody have any more questions, any comments, concerns?
I would just like to ask, I don't know how many of us older retired people are in the neighborhood, but I'd like to know how we can get together and maybe have a coffee or get to know each other, or, I mean, I walk my dog most every day. And I know there's a few, but I don't know who they are.
We are.
Yeah, I don't know how to get hold of them.
So-
Or know who's in my category.
We don't have any,
We don't have a Facebook now.
we don't have like, so one of the things that we need to do here in the next couple months is we have to get letters, kind of like you guys received for the agenda and the agenda and the proxy form. We need to send something out to every single homeowner, asking them what information they want shared, phone number, email address, if they want that information shared. I don't know all the privacy laws, and I'm not even going to pretend to, and I don't want to get into an area where we could be doing something wrong. So we need to make sure that those who want to have information shared, they have the right to say yes or no. Once we can get that information and send it out, we can send it out to every single homeowner.
It's disseminated in a pamphlet, right?
Yeah.
Correct. And then
They did that before.
Yeah,
That's been done.
Has it?
yeah, we did it back when it was fairly new. We did it a couple of years
I
ago.
came in 09, so they did it in the first
Okay.
few years of that.
Yeah.
So I do know, per CIC rules, you're supposed to have a way for homeowners to be able to interact. And interact can be anything from phone number, address, or email address. I'm not sure, we have Buildium that has access to group forums, and people can post what
And
information.
anybody can start a Facebook page.
Yep.
So on Buildium, you can create forums. There's areas where you can create a chat. You can message people on there. So that's a way that people can interact. And then, I don't know, going door to door. It kind of seems foreign in today's time because everybody's locked in the of some sort. Okay. No more questions?
Well, I just have a quick, what's EFT mean?
Pardon me?
EFT?
Electronic transfer.
Electronic fund
Oh,
transfer.
okay, okay.
So a lot of people have set that up where it can
Thank you.
draft from their account every month. Like,
Okay.
there are some people that I see on there that they pay monthly, that whatever, $35 it is. They just pay monthly. There's some people who pay yearly, quarterly. If you don't have to pay it quarterly, you can pay it however it seems financially fit. So monthly, yearly, however, you can pay it and get it done and over with.
So was there the beaver guy coming back out? Is that, did I miss that? The beaver guy?
I'm gonna have to have him come back out.
I met him when he was out, so I can show him where the,
James is 71.
Yes, ma'am.
I was a realtor for a long time, and I think it's imperative that people get a copy of the covenants, and they don't always when they close. If the title company can't, forgets or doesn't.
That has been a nightmare to do with title companies they've got them, and we've asked them for them to be put out to them. We can't make them. On the Buildium site, there is access to the covenants, restrictions, and bylaws on that. You have to go under documents, and it'll pop up with everything on there. So that is something that we need to really work on, because all that stuff needs to be readily accessible to every homeowner to be able to see everything.
Isn't there a copy of it on Buildium?
There is some stuff on there.
And we also have a problem with new homeowners come in that they haven't gotten a new key, or haven't got the.
Yeah, like Miss Perez. So I know Miss Perez, when she bought her house, the lady passed away and they didn't have the key. Whenever somebody buys a home, we give them a key. There is a cost if you do lose the key to replace that key. But we give every home a key when we buy a home if we don't have one. So that is gearing up for that time of season. It's a pain in the butt.
Yes, it is.
So.
What is this official site you're talking about that all the documents are on, the covenants are on? Is it the?
It's where you pay your bill, man.
Do you pay your dues?
Do you pay your dues?
My kids pay it.
Are you Miss Scarrett?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the roadies, yeah, they do all that. If you email, I don't know how to do this. on the site it gives access to one email address to who has access to pay that.
I know we just signed a form, and I think we sent it to you, that I could vote.
Correct. And I have,
Yeah, the proxy.
Yeah, probably.
we got one that was filled out incorrectly, so we couldn't use it. I know that we have the roads and spirits. Steve, did I give you one?
I didn't see that one.
Well, if I need to correct something, let me know. I didn't. She just sent it to me.
You don't have it? It's in your folder.
Well, don't fret, I just.
No, because we actually have to keep it, so. This is all. Here it is right here.
Is it wrong?
No, it's correct.
Oh, okay.
It's correct. There was one that was wrong that did not fill out anybody as their. But I can, we can, do you need copies of covenants in the
No,
bylaws?
I'm fine.
Because
I'd just like to know how to get on where all this stuff is. And that's an email or a website?
It's a website.
Yeah. I do. It's a no.
Well, you can download the app. There's a Buildium app.
Bills.
Buildium, right here.
Buildium.
Buildium, manager, Buildium.
Just get that one.
And then you see, and then it builds your logins from and then once you're logged in, you should be able to access people in the journal and the
Yeah. As good as I can. Yeah.
My body was, but
apparently not.
that's what happened.
I can breathe now, so that's a plus.
Build,
I'll make a motion that we end the meeting.
Second.
Thank you all for coming.
Here you go.
Interesting. Brought that up.
When they got behind, 15 points.
I didn't know they would. What? Sorry, they brought that up.
Next year, they're going to be.
Until 10 o'clock.
Have a good night.
They've got bills that, if you're just gonna do it like a month, if you don't want a month, if you want.
I said, you're a shot.
Your membership drops.
I graduated.
And you have,
You don't go to the
you
game.
have all day long.
I used to work against as a police officer. It was free, but I had to get back.
I'm big time.
Oh, good.
I have 2 grandkids. I have a wife.
We come in here and
I have 2 grandkids over there now.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. 2 more.
Already on all of that.
lady
Okay.
that was handing out all the stuff. And, I'm a diabetic.
They had some issues as well.
Yeah.
With the stuff. Yeah, they started to Augusta.
With the
I appreciate you coming
I should
in.
give us your license. Right? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Interesting time.
Yeah.
We have, one classes every other
Someone
week.
brought us.
Our 2 classes on the off weeks.
I gotta
Tuesday
go.
goes to the lake,
The wife
I know
and
it's
kids.
a
Well,
struggle.
Yeah.
I'll buy her during
It
the
will
Maybe.
be better.
I've had a lot of health issues. Obviously.
I see that.
Well, if they
I appreciate your struggles there. You need to let me know.
Thank you.
They're giving you a hard time.
Are you talking
I will.
about the guys?
That's so bad. It's getting better. It'll get better.
Yeah.
At least I got everything
Fresh
fixed.
blood on the board.
And they're not paying themselves, they prepaid their dues.
Yeah.
So, they said I wasn't wrong about anything, so.
Right. Make sure they don't hit my work truck.
I know the situation.
I'm barely squeezed in there.
They want to give you access.
Well, have a good night. I'm glad I got to meet you. Stay in touch.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start our own Facebook.
Yeah, I got it. I can go start one.
We'll start it.
Fairmont Facebook rechecks.
Did you ask about the fishing?
Yep. Yeah.
So I wondered that too, because I'm on that pond and we get people from the church.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the only way you can get some more.
I mean, these aren't us, they're church people.
I didn't know that.
They come on and then they just are standing there.
So I like,
It's just, there's a lot of stuff. And I'm like, it's not that good.
But we actually have a covenant on it. It's not catch and release.
It's not.
So trying to get out.
This is it right there.
I know the other pond is, and that's where I always fish.
It says right here,
My church.
this is the actual covenant. No lake, pond,
taking both in
stream,
there.
or drainage. Fishing is not permitted, lakes or ponds within the common area. So we don't allow catch and release.
So it's just regular fishing.
No fishing. It says no fishing.
That can't be right.
That's it in black and white. Those are our
Can I
covenants.
take this over?
Where'd you go?
Do you have a key?
She's saying that we can't. We're 7
Yeah, the only reason I've done this is we get people that come from the church, or whoever those people are, they just come down on the other side of the pond where the 3 signs are, and they'll just be fishing over there. They're not like, from our neighborhood, they're just people.
Because I know people that fish.
Well, I actually didn't know.
I see them.
I actually was feeding my catfish to fish, but my neighbor had a sign saying no fishing, no trespassing. And so I thought, I better check.
so it means even the front pond. I'll have to look and I'll.
So that's why because he has a sign right there, and I was like,
Okay.
yes, I can't fish. So now
Well,
I
maybe that
just,
sign shouldn't be there.
well, these are the covenants, so, I mean,
Well, there's
you
a
could
thing
change
you
the
should have
covenant.
sign.
Well, his sign, I mean, I'm sure.
Justin, don't worry about it. Well, if I don't get it from you, I think I know where it is. I think I know where it is.
Oh, I
I
have to
think I
check
know
the
where you are.
signs. I mean, it is on
Are you
his,
on a corner of a couple?
it is on his back property.
Pretty heavy.
Well,
Thank you.
I walk by there.
Standing on the property, but
Okay,
the back of the
we'll
pond.
figure it out.
Actually, we discussed the sign issue at one meeting I went to.
Oh, about-
People having little signs.
I think there's
Talk about that in area.
I believe there's a sign by the front pond that says it's like no swimming or anything like that, that this is a residential pond and it's for the residents. I'd have to look at it to see exactly what it says. But
We can't fish in the
Well,
ponds
no, I
in
don't
the
go
cold.
there. I don't go to yeah.
It says in there, not a lot of fish. We've never stopped it. I think the builder stopped it.
No, the board stopped.
Quinn,
And to get to the Andover.
it was before I was on the board.
Yeah,
It's, I always thought it was, you could fish there, but it was only for the residents.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
No boating and swimming.
So,
And no dogs.
I'm gonna look at the sign at the front pond and see what it says.
It's a nice deal.
So now, is that something that we can change?
Yeah,
But you can change any.
you can change any of it in there.
Anything in here with the
Yeah.
right vote, you can change
Yeah,
it, so.
we typically,
Covenants, though, you have to file with the county, it is a little more involved. Two-thirds, I haven't checked, but typically
two-thirds of the vote by proxy or in person.
of the membership, so you need two-thirds of everybody.
Two-thirds of membership that shows up.
People that show up, members that show up.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
I haven't checked any of that, but usually it's two-thirds of the entire population.
It's two-thirds of who shows up. And who
Yeah,
sits
if
in.
they don't show up and they don't vote, I guess they lose out. So it's 2/3 of who shows up or who proxies in.
Yeah. All right, well,
Got enough pens in your pocket there?
Well, I made sure I brought pins.